Is another thing that we need to refactor before going forward. So here, what happens here is that the total of the two rolls is 10. So this is a spare situation. And in this code we are doing this intentionally in this method, but it isn't clear that our intention is to have a spare. So to make things clearer for everyone, we pick that piece of code and we can move that to a method that has a name that explains to us what it's doing. So you click on extract method and you can name this roll one spare. Now let's write another test case. So now that we've covered spare, let's do a test for strike. So rename the test case. And let's have a strike. And this would be 10. Alright, so what's gonna happen here? Not right now, but when we come back for refactoring. Keep this in mind. Let's move on to the next line. Maybe just do a few more rolls. Let's change this to 4. I just want to go with the predetermined number so we don't have to calculate the scores. So what would be the next line here? Yeah, like we had in the other test case, rolled many, 16 and 0. Okay, so it's time to see if our test passes. So the number that we're looking for is 24. If you calculate it by hand, the total score would be 24. And we want this value to be equal to 24. Now let's see if we can successfully pass this test. Well, obviously not, because we don't have the logic for strike yet. Alright, so this one was spare. This one is like better. This one is for when you don't have a spare or strike. So let's do this. We're gonna add another condition here, and this would be strike. So if we have a strike here, what's the logic that has to go in that if condition? So that's technically if your first roll just knocks down 10, like all of the 10 pins. So we want to check for strike. We have to see if the current frame index of the rolls is pointing to a block that has value 10. So if that is the case, then what should we do here? We say score plus equal, well, 10, the first one, plus, you have 10 because you already got 10 by your strike. And we said if there is a strike, you also get the points of the next and also the next after that next one. So this also isn't really that hard. So it would be plus 1 and not here, and plus frame index plus 2. What else? We have to pay attention that this frame index is pointing to the first turn in that frame. Since our first turn already knocked down all 10 points, all 10 pins, we just have to skip the second turn. So we say frame index plus plus. Now let's go back to the test class and try it now. Well, it passes, great. So far we have 4 passing tests. Okay, it's refactoring time. So we go here. This is a strike. And we want to make it clear that it is a strike. So what do? Go to refactor, expand method. So we want this to be a method. We call it roll strike. And refactor, and we say keep the original signature. So roll a strike, I defined it here. And okay, so this is done. Let's see what else we need to do. Let's go to the class itself. Where do we have long lines of code that makes it hard for us to understand? So one thing that I'm seeing is here. So we'll get to that, but there's something before that. Line 14, this. We don't know what it's doing. It's not very it's not self-explanatory at all. So this is obviously checking for strike if we know what the code is about and we know the rules and everything.